Welcome to episode number 65 of the Keep Up Podcast.
Where we kick you in the teeth.
That's it, huh? All right. Hey, all right. Here we go.
Hey.
Episode number 65. Welcome to the Keep Up. My name's Brett.
My name is Tim.
You just went with your real name this time.
Yeah, I was feeling Frank and Beans, but you said Brett, so I'd look like an idiot.
Yeah, you just kept it uniform.
Yeah.
Follow the leader.
And count the ducks that are hatching before you.
Don't put all your ducks in a row because the basket of eggs will hatch in the moonlight.
I like that.
Thanks.
That really, that spoke to me.
Yeah.
What is your definition of a pinky swear?
Like you want me to tell you how it works?
Just what do you think?
Or are you asking me if I put any value on a pinky swear?
Is it more valuable than just a promise?
I like pinky promise, but I think that's because I'm a huge fan of alliterations.
So if it was a powerful pinky promise.
Oh, man.
If it was a
so effective.
Powerful petite pinky promise.
Mm-hmm.
If it was a piggy powerful petite pinky promise.
Yep.
If it was a popcorny powerful petite.
All right, no. I'm not letting you get away with popcorny.
Come on, popcorny. That's the
No.
action of movie jokes.
What?
You've never been popcorny before?
Popcorny? That sounds like an adjective,
It's a verb.
not an action.
It's what you do.
What is this conversation?
I don't know.
I haven't said that for a while. I feel like I used to say, what is this conversation a lot on the podcast?
I mean, that is every podcast ever. You don't even have to.
Speaking of every podcast,
Mhm.
you don't even have to what? Go ahead, finish your sentence.
I was going to say, you don't even have to say it because people know what they're getting into. You know, we were initially pop culture.
Yeah.
Then you changed us to comedy. And now we're just nothing.
Now we're
Or everything.
everything.
Nothing sounds worse.
Nothing sounds way worse.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Who would come to a podcast to listen to nothing?
I don't know, but sometimes that's kind of what our podcast is like.
That could be a pretty easy podcast to edit.
The nothing cast?
Mm-hmm.
The not cast.
Yes. Well, pod isn't a word for talking.
It's not like it's supposed to be like a replacement.
Oh, okay.
Just if it's nothing,
So
it's not,
It's not.
right?
Like a tying knot.
Yep.
Okay.
K-not,
K-knot.
the cannot cast.
The cannot cast.
That's not what we are, though.
No, it's not.
I realize it's funny because the way that our podcast starts now, we just talk for a while and then we go into stupid questions, which is, we'll talk about that in a minute. And so if people don't know, they just have to wait a while to see. Well, I guess not. That is part of our podcast now.
Yeah, I think
But like the
it's
pop culture element gets like.
pushed to the side.
Right.
Yeah, it gets pushed away.
Mm.
I think because the entertainment value will keep them there with this stupid question. Like, I want to know where this guy's going with this.
Right. Where's he going with it? And we're going to pop culture land.
Yeah, that's
Eventually, though, it's the scenic route.
right. You do have to see a lot of beautiful things on the way.
Right. I just itched my throat with my tongue, and I don't know if it picked up on the mic.
I mean, I heard it
Mm-hmm.
in real life. I don't know. These mics can pick up a lot of things.
They can pick up a lot of things.
I'll pick it up a lot of the things.
Pick up a lot of things.
Well, I don't really have a stupid question this week.
You don't?
Well, I have a question. It's not stupid, though. It's like, it's a real question.
Okay, well, I have to ask you one thing before I ask you another thing.
Okay.
The first thing is it a stupid question or not? Because if not, I'm not going to put the transition in.
I don't think it's stupid. It's more of a real question.
Okay.
It's one to get everyone thinking.
Then I have another question. Should I ask it now or after this question that you're
Now.
going to ask?
Yes.
Okay. What is your goal when we do stupid questions?
Well, the idea initially is for comedy purposes.
Yeah.
But also, I like to ask the questions that people are just too afraid to ask.
Too afraid to ask.
That's the idea. Like, it's something that people are either sitting at a coffee shop or petting a dog, and they're
Right.
like, why do dogs have teeth sharper than ours?
Hmm.
And then, we just kind of go from there.
But they don't want to just ask the person next to them.
Yeah, they can't ask the dog, obviously.
Right.
Or the coffee they're drinking.
Exactly.
And I know you're a smart guy, so I like to hear your opinion on it,
Mm-hmm.
So, and I want to get everyone else thinking.
Yeah.
Because maybe they never thought of it before.
So you ask the tough questions.
I do.
Right.
I do it. I really do it for you guys. I take the bullet for the team.
Yeah.
And I don't trust the internet.
And that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say on behalf of the Keep Up listenership, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, what's your question?
So it's not stupid.
Not
like
stupid.
I said.
Hey, for stupid questions, if this is your first time, go back to like any other episode.
I know. When did we start?
I don't know. Go back to a recent episode because stupid questions have been pretty steady on this podcast.
Yeah, I like to bring them every week now.
Yeah.
It gets the ball rolling, but
It does roll the ball.
yeah, this one I didn't really have one other than this, and I thought maybe it could fall in, but it's not stupid enough. So recently there's been like a little controversy in the gaming realm.
Okay.
When it comes to reviewing games, because a lot of the times the people that review games are not entirely interested in that genre of games.
Okay.
So do you think people who are interested in said genre of game should review it, or do you think it should be a neutral party that has nothing, like no attached?
Where's the
attachment?
controversy?
So with Destiny 2,
Yeah.
it was Cuphead actually. Destiny 2 followed after, but Cuphead, it's a super difficult platform that's coming out on Xbox.
Okay.
And the game reviewer could not get past the tutorial. Like, it's a simple jump. It's a jump that a lot of people who play games would know how to do. It's like a double jump into that.
Okay.
So in the tutorial, it shows in the background how to perform the jump and the buttons. Guy couldn't do it for like 10 minutes. He's sitting there jumping, and he couldn't make the jump. So a lot of people are like, okay, is this guy even like legitimate? Is he?
Right.
How can he review a game if he can't even play the game?
Oh, I see.
So that led me to think like maybe it's better that someone who doesn't play games should review a game. But then again, they're not knowledgeable on the subject, so why?
I feel like it's got to depend on. So I feel like. All right, my first thought is, what's the point of looking up a review on the consumer's side, and then what's the point of posting a review on the side of the reviewer? So, like, if we had a channel or like a platform, whether it's written or video or whatever, and the point was to review something that we knew nothing about, like when we did the Dungeons and Dragons unboxing,
yeah.
People got mad at us because we didn't know what we were talking about, but that's part of why we did it.
Right.
So like
to have like an average look.
Yeah, just like a casual look at something that we weren't super familiar with, other than we like sculpts and they were sweet action figures and they looked cool. So that's like why we did it.
Right.
But if you're reviewing something, like I guess to answer my own questions, like if we're looking up a review of a game, we want to know from the perspective of someone who likes to play games and regularly plays them. And you would think they'd know how to get past like a tutorial.
Right.
And if they couldn't, and it was someone you trusted, like you've seen them do other reviews, then it means something completely different. Then it's like, oh, this game's broken.
Right. If that guy who plays games all the time couldn't get past it. Yeah, I don't know the history of the guy.
But you want someone who's knowledgeable to review. Like, I've heard reviews from people, or a couple podcasts I've listened to before, and I really like the host and the content of the podcast, and they'll occasionally like review a movie. And I've learned over time that I just don't gel with this particular person's review of movies because I'm almost always on the opposite end.
Right.
And he or she will be like, oh, I hate this movie. I don't like these type of movies. I don't like these type of movies. And I'm always like, what? Like, these are great movies. So I've just learned that while I like that host and I like their content, when they're reviewing movies, I'm like, meh.
Yeah, it's just like goes over your head, basically, because you don't want to talk to them about it or listen to them.
Yeah, like I just know we're not on the same page.
Right.
So I guess what's the question? Is there value in someone who like isn't a gamer reviewing a game?
Yeah, like would it be better for someone who doesn't play games regularly to get a better understanding of the game? See, no, I mean, even me asking that question, I'm like, nah.
I feel, there's not really so that's my point on the reviewer's end. Like, if the point, let's say you and I have never played a video game, then it might be fun to like start a channel or a platform as like, hey, we're not gamers, but video games are like a huge thing in our culture. So we're going to like try a new video game every week and film us trying to figure out how to do it.
That's a real cool idea.
You know what I mean?
I wish we don't play games
I know.
so we could do
right?
that.
We should find something we know nothing about.
My Little Pony.
I know a little bit too much about it.
Shoot.
I know.
Okay. But that's a cool idea. I do like that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So that would serve a certain purpose. And then we would probably watch it, especially if you are a gamer. You would probably, that channel would actually be for gamers to watch non-gamers.
Right.
And
To
like
see
laugh.
to see how they adjust to a gaming culture.
Because like Rachel, my wife can't play video games because it stresses her out too much. And like if you hand her a controller, she lasts a couple minutes and is like, there are too many buttons. I don't know how you do this. Take this away from me.
So you got to start her easier, like NES, because that's only A, B.
Or like she's...
Do they even have triggers on NES?
No.
No. Wow, that's crazy.
No, A, B, and D-pad.
Yeah. And then start and select. But
how come there's no C button? You go A, B, and then D-pad. There should be a C button in there somewhere. Although D just stands for directional, so...
There you go.
But I was like A, B, D.
Just C-pad.
Maybe started with a C. It didn't.
No.
So... Yeah, like she's played some app games and stuff, but a channel where that's how we can do it, Rachel.
You've been chosen.
Oh man.
Are we close to the wall, by the way?
A little bit, yeah. That's okay. So there would be value in having someone who doesn't know anything about a certain subject reviewing it, but it would be for a completely different purpose than getting an actual like quality review.
Yeah, like from IGN, Game Informer, from
Right.
an actual source that you expect the news. Okay.
That's my initial thought.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good way to look at it, because for a completely different purpose, yeah, I'd want someone knowledgeable on the subject to review things I'm curious in. So
yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. You think that applies to movies?
Kind of, because going back to my example, like there's one podcaster in particular who I really, really like, and he does not like any Marvel movies. So consistently. So whenever a Marvel movie comes out, I disregard his review. I don't even really care to listen to it. Not in a negative way. I just know he's listed the things he doesn't like about the MCU, and they're all the things that I love about it.
Oh, so that's frustrating.
So I know that he's not going to like this movie because it has all the things I love about it. So I kind of disregard that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it applies.
And then from there, because he specifically says I don't like Marvel movies, do you like not take his word on any movie reviews?
No, actually, because there are some movies that we definitely vibe on. Like he'll like a certain genre. Like he likes I don't know. There are definitely other genres. I don't not trust his opinion. So
but just when it comes to certain things, and I guess that's with everybody. Like, no one's gonna agree on everything all the time.
Yeah.
So, but I felt like, at least as far as movies go, I'd be interested to see someone like who hasn't seen any Marvel movies go through the whole Marvel universe and see what they think about it. You know?
Yeah.
But that I guess that leans more towards the YouTube idea, where someone who doesn't play games would. Okay. Nope, you've convinced me.
I think that's what I think.
So it makes sense. So I think in that case, talking about Cuphead, they probably should have gotten someone who actually plays games a lot more.
I would think.
I
haven't seen it, but yeah,
it's seriously, he's like just talking about the game, and then it's probably like 4 or 5 minutes, but he just like didn't pay attention to the background.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's him being an idiot. I don't know if he's never played games before. Like,
is he like a popular vlogger? Or
he was from Kotaku.
Oh, okay.
So other than that, I don't know.
Weird.
Too
Yeah,
much,
I haven't seen it.
But yeah, it was a big thing people are talking about, because now all reviews coming out post that video, everyone's like, oh, this guy's probably not a good gamer. That's why it's a low review. So now people in general, if anything gets low, they're like, oh, it doesn't count because.
Oh, interesting. So yeah, like he's lost credibility.
Yeah, not just him. All like just anything that reviews has been like in an uproar, because they're like,
maybe he just sucks.
Right. How do we know
weird
people don't suck at these games?
That's super strange.
Because in a written format, when there's no video, this guy, could describe, oh, I couldn't beat this boss because it was so hard. But then as a normal gamer gets to that boss and like, oh, it was easy.
It's easy, yeah.
So, but so it brought up the subject, like, should we have super experienced players play the game and review, or people who don't play, so it can be a more true score to what the game actually is.
Right.
So
interesting.
Yeah, I was surprised to see just such a controversy, and I never thought of it before. Like, I just assume anybody who reviews is well informed and
you
knows
just assume.
and knows how to review stuff.
Well, and that's the internet thing now is everybody's reviewing everything.
Yeah.
Like that's why, admittedly, like I'm cautious sometimes on here because I've never wanted to be like the final stop where someone trusts my opinion on an album or a game we played or whatever. I more so want people to like listen to our podcast or watch our videos and hang out and it be more like, hey, this is our take. Like you get to know us. So when we explain like, this is how I felt about this game, you may or may not gel with that. You know what I mean? But a lot of people who are out there reviewing things, it's like they want to be that platform, not to speak for other reviewers or anything, but some are just like, hey, this is what I thought. Others are like, this game is trash, like, and here's why.
Right.
And you have to know whether or not that person's legit or not, because everybody can look legit at this point. You can have a website with like a professional graphic, and then you could just trash everything you play, and people are like, oh, that game might suck.
And there's totally people out there who just like will find all the flaws in something, and people take their opinions to heart. You know, they'll see it's like, okay, this guy consistently says everything's bad. He finds all the flaws. Right. Obviously, that's not worth my time because of all the flaws. And this guy made a video about it or an article or whatever. So
and there's always been like the thing about critics. Like people are like, oh, I don't listen to the critics.
Right.
And critics exist for a reason. But also there's some truth to like, I could hate something. You could love that thing. So you can only like listen to it for so much value.
Yeah,
know?
and I generally gauge when I look at critics. I do critics and public opinion, and then like get a mental average. You know, I'm like, okay, so it's generally around a 6 or whatever. Yeah. And then from there, but at least for me personally, I always go into a movie open-minded or play a game open-mindedly because, I mean, there's got to be something redeeming about it. People spend hundreds of hours, thousands of hours trying to do whatever they're doing. Yeah. So I don't want to discredit them because everyone else says it sucks, you know?
It always feels personal to me, and I'm pretty sure we've had this conversation before. Oh, I know that we have. Like, maybe it's because we, like, create things, but sometimes that makes it worse for people, but, and trust me, there are some things I've seen that I'm like, how did so many people let this slip?
We always rag on Mortal Kombat.
So bad.
Not the first movie.
No, Annihilation. It's terrible.
And I feel a little bit bad, but it totally deserves it.
It's garbage. Sorry, it's garbage.
We just talked about this whole thing.
And it's funny, like, I say sorry, but my point is it feels like personal. Like, if I watch something that's really bad, I'm like, yeah, that sucked, but a bunch of people made that, so, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's funny because that's how people in the past have been like, dude, you're way too easy on movies. Like, you like everything. And I'm like, I don't like everything. I just don't want to be a jerk about it.
Right. Don't want to be that guy who's like, that scene was awful.
Yeah, sorry, man. That was rough. For that one guy that's like, I did everything in that scene. I worked so hard.
He's one of the few people listening to our podcast.
Right.
The guy who made Mortal Kombat.
Annihilation. Yeah.
Every week he listens for us to say something good about it.
If you're the guy who did the CGI in Mortal Kombat Annihilation, I just hope you found a different career path.
Please. I mean,
actually, that's not fair because around that time, CGI was just
right.
Garbage.
He was working with rocks, so he just had to spark them together. Maybe something came out.
Catch the right angle. That movie sucked so bad.
We're not here to talk about bad movies.
All right.
We're here to talk about things we like.
What is this? What is that? Is that picking up on the camera?
Don't worry about it.
There is a massive orange stain on this table. Is this Cheetos? Timothy, this is Cheetos.
Why would I be eating Cheetos on a white table?
You're always eating Cheetos. It doesn't matter what you're surrounded by.
Wow. I'm offended. You think I always eat Cheetos.
Don't act like you're not eating Cheetos right now. Are we done in not stupid questions?
Yes, we are done in not stupid questions.
All right. TV?
TV.
Okay.
Television.
All right, we
Did you get stage fright or something?
I'm scared.
He's a scared.
So I got like a handful of things to talk about, but I didn't take notes or prepare a whole lot.
Okay.
So we're just gonna ride this out and see how it goes.
That's my life.
First thing, because it's pretty quick.
Yes.
Also, amen, brother. So anything Netflix, I usually put in TV. If it's like a Netflix original.
Yeah, where else would we put it?
Well, okay, I'm talking comedy specials.
Okay.
All right.
It's TV.
Yeah, it's TV, you know?
Netflix kills it with the comedy specials.
I'm saying. All right, so I have two. Do you watch a lot of stand-up comedy? No. Bruh. You really need to.
Regularly.
Right. So I'm going to throw two comedians at you.
Sure.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I watched that one that you told me.
Which one?
No, like a long
a
time
while ago?
Yeah.
Was it Mike Birbiglia?
Yes.
I watched another one of his. What did you think of that? That one was Thank God for Jokes?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny. It had a lot of good jokes. Some jokes were misses, but that happens all the time. But yeah, it was really enjoyable. I thought
we talk about that on the podcast?
You brought it up.
Okay.
I watched it after, and I think we talked about it outside the podcast.
Okay.
I don't know, but
I'm pretty positive I talked about it on the podcast.
But it was good. I remember it being good.
I watched another one of his. Rachel and I watched another one of his. I forget. It was called. Yeah, look up Mike Birbiglia on Netflix.
Yeah, let me just.
I didn't even intend
to
talk about that one, but you brought him up. Just Mike BIRB, and it'll come up
on IMDb or Netflix.
Netflix. Okay. Whatever's easier for you. I don't care.
I hope I'm signed in.
I was gonna say. I actually wasn't even gonna talk about Mike Birbiglia, but we watched another one recently.
I'm not signed in.
And if we didn't talk, I feel like we talked about Thank God for Jokes. But
we did talk about that on the podcast.
Okay, we did.
You did for sure. I watched it after.
Okay.
There was yeah.
So as I mentioned before, if you go back and listen to whatever podcast we talked about that one on, it wasn't that long ago. But I just love watching comedians. I've paid closer attention to comedy in the past few years as an art form. Not that I didn't recognize it as that prior, but when you start really focusing in on something, like when you're watching movies as a kid, you're like, oh, movies are really cool, and if they pique your interest, it's just because they're fun to watch or whatever. But then as you get older, if you're getting into film, you start to like dissect it and be like, how do they do this? Like, why is this movie better than that one? And I've been doing that a lot with comedy the past few years.
That's an interesting way to look at comedy specials, to have that view, but on comedy, it's like. I know. Because the idea behind it is it's all the same format. It's just filming jokes like for a stand-up thing he did, but. Where are you going with that?
So for me, it's like I've been really analyzing the writing, and Mike Birbiglia's specials. That sentence came out weird. It was like when someone gets like speed wobble on a skateboard and they're going really fast and then they start to wobble a little bit and then it goes out of control.
The speed wobbles.
That's what that sentence felt like. Like Mike Birbiglia special. Anyways, his specials always have.
Was it a newer one or older one?
I actually don't know.
Because his most recent one is Thank God for Jokes.
Yeah. Okay. So it must have been older.
There's one called What's Next.
Let me see.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't signed into Netflix, so I'm on IMDb.
Yeah. That's fine. What the? Oh, this has too many things on it. Tim.
And plus, you don't.
My girlfriend's boyfriend.
Is that him?
You gotta watch.
Okay.
So he always has these like huge overarching. I like arcing.
Yeah, I do too.
Archangel or Archangel?
Archangel.
Samesies.
Yeah.
Overarching themes to his specials, whereas other comedians just have like. They have sections, or they're the one-liners or whatever. And I'm sure we talked about this before, but his specials, like this will be the third one. One I've listened to, these two I watched on Netflix, and the way that he weaves his stories are unbelievable to me because the way that he weaves his stories.
You can't second guess yourself because that's my job. You're
too
not
many,
allowed to.
There may have been awkward articles in that sentence.
It sounded right. The way he weaves.
It depends whether I said way or ways.
The way.
Here are my two options. The way he weaves his stories is, and then whatever I said.
Right.
Or the ways he weaves his stories are.
Freaking English language.
Yeah, I know, right? Whatever he does is great.
Yes.
And, he does this thing where you forget about the initial story that he's telling because he moves into another one and it's so captivating and hilarious. And then he will just, without even a transition, sometimes there's a transition, but you don't even know it is until you're back into the other story.
Right.
So it's just very intricate the way that he tells his stories. And he ends on like this thing that wraps everything up nicely, and it's so impressive.
Yeah,
like,
he
from
did
a
that in
standpoint.
Thank God for Jokes.
For Jokes, yeah.
Yeah, because he like throughout the whole special he was setting up nice. Oh, you got it.
Brutal.
Put it on the orange stain,
which we found out was hot sauce.
Shut up.
Mosquito Corpse.
So
death metal band.
That's sexy.
It's gonna be. So thank God for Jokes.
Yes, he told a bunch of stories like you were saying throughout the thing, and how he wraps it up is so like fast. How he did it, because he like connects one point to another point to another point, and then the whole joke at the end is like a joke he started at the beginning of the thing, and you, like you said, you don't remember. But somehow magically you're like, oh, yeah, he said that beginning to that joke at the beginning. So, yeah, I only saw one special, but that was awesome how he did that.
Right. So that's why I bring it up again, because also in this one, my girlfriend's boyfriend, it's like he does that a lot where he'll start a story. It's really funny. He moves into something else. You almost forget about that other one, and then he brings it back, and it's all tied together, and it's like so well written. So it's so good. So Mike Birbiglia.
Yeah, that guy.
Birbiglia is so great. And I think I can't figure out who my favorite comedian is. It's either him or
Dane Cook.
Chris D'Elia.
Yeah, I was close.
So I had been listening to the first time I ever saw Chris D'Elia was in a very short-lived sitcom called Whitney, which starred Whitney Cummings and Chris D'Elia. Came out I don't know,
2004.
I don't think it was that long ago. I think it was the early 2000 teens would be my guess. I'm going to say, all right, make a guess.
All right. I guess I should just stick. But you said teens?
What year is it? I'm going to say 2012.
I'm going to say 2014.
Why am I not signed in?
Because...
What'd you say, 2014?
Yep. You're not ready to Whitney
2011 to 2013.
You're close.
I win.
You do.
That was the first time I ever saw him. We only watched a couple episodes. It did not last very long. And then recently, I forget where he... Oh, it might have been... I was listening to like comedy, like some radio station that I started on Spotify or whatever, and he came up and I was like, I remember this dude. Maybe it was a Facebook video. It was like a clip or whatever. So I looked him up on Spotify and listened to his album.
Which, may I add, how cool is that you can listen to comedy sketches
on... It is
the
best.
Sketches, comedy shows on Spotify.
Like full albums.
Yeah.
It's so great. I've used it a ton for that. And I listened to the album. It's called, I believe it's called White Male Black Comic. And it is hilarious. I listened to it multiple times. The first time in a long time that I've listened to a comedy album like 3 times straight through.
That's pretty funny.
And what it is about him, especially like I can use, because Mike Birbiglia is so intricately written, whereas what I love about Chris D'Elia, and it's just different, I'm not saying I like one or the other better, but what drew me to Chris D'Elia is it's like he's just goofing around with his friends when he delivers stuff. And one of his signature things is he laughs at his own jokes all the time. So like he'll be in the middle of delivering a joke and he'll start laughing at it, but that's like his thing. And when he starts laughing, the crowd starts laughing, especially if you know his comedy, because you're like, oh, he's doing the thing. He's doing the thing that he does. And the other thing he does is he will start his jokes like 3 times sometimes before he gets to it. And he'll be like, yo, like, when, okay, all right, yo, all right, here's all right. And he'll do that over and over again. And it's like he's just telling these stories, these jokes, like he's just hanging out in a living room with you or whatever. But it's so endearing in his comedy. And he does have, well, to talk about some specials in particular, there are 2 on Netflix. One is called Incorrigible, and the other one is Man on Fire. Man on Fire just came out this year, and it's so great. And specifically in Man on Fire, he has a pretty negative outlook on a lot of things, and that's where the source of a lot of his jokes comes from. And near the end, he like ties things up in a way that's like, all of this negative stuff I've been talking about, like I had an experience recently where I realized like maybe it's okay. Like the whole theme of the show is like, you are not the star. Like nobody, like you're not the star of your own movie. Everyone feels like they are, but you're not. And then at the end he references, it almost feels like spoiling it to say how he brings the show home. But they're both really, really great. I would recommend watching both of them, and definitely listening to White Male Black Comic. I hope that's right. He only has one album that I know of, but those 2 specials are on Netflix. Definitely go watch them. He also does like, he goes on these really like long bits where he'll drag out something super goofy. Like he does this one about if football teams were actually what they were called. So if you went to a football game and it was actually Bears versus Lions.
Oh my God, how sick would that
right?
be?
And he drags that out for a little while, and it's so funny. And then afterwards he makes a joke about how he knows how goofy that is. And so it's all this like, it's very like self-referential where he's like, I know what I'm doing. I know you guys know, like when I can't, sometimes he can't get through one of his own jokes because he's laughing so hard at it. And those are the funniest moments.
So it's like Saturday Night Live when they break character.
Exactly.
And that is the best.
Yeah. And it's when he has a couple signature things, like when he does kids' voices. He has this really unique way of acting like a child that doesn't really make sense. But when he does it, you know it's his kid voice. And those are like my favorite parts.
Does he like talk like an adult but in a child's voice?
Kinda. Like the way he does it. I could imitate it because we've been quoting it a lot in my house lately. But it's just very like, you're watching it and you're like, I don't know why that's his kid voice. Like it's one of those, you know
what
I mean?
was he like as a kid, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So it's really, really great. Chris D'Elia, Man on Fire and Incorrigible. They're both really funny. Definitely R-rated comic, so heads
That's
up.
fine. I mean, that's the only good comedy.
That's the majority of them. He's really, really funny, and I've been loving him lately. And I think he's my favorite comedian.
Wow.
He and Mike Birbiglia, but their styles are so different.
Right. That's great.
And that's why everybody should go watch. Let's see. I'll say watch
them all.
Watch them all for sure. But I want people to watch Man on Fire and by Chris D'Elia and Thank God for Jokes by Mike Birbiglia. Those need to be watched.
And that's all they have on Netflix for those guys.
No, the other 2 are on. Oh, those 4 are on there.
Okay.
There may be more, but I think those are the only 2 for each of them. But that's the other cool thing. A lot of comedians have multiple specials on Netflix now.
And they are Netflix originals too,
right.
Which is interesting. It's cool that they're picking those up. So
yeah, dude. So that's good stuff.
Yeah. I'll definitely watch both of them. Why not?
Yeah, you should for sure.
Well, I already watched the Thank God for Jokes, but
yes,
watch the other.
You got to watch the other Mike Birbiglia, and then the 2 Chris D'Elia specials are like 2.5 hours total if you watch the 2 of them. The other thing I wanted to talk about, Defenders.
Yes. Oh, of course. Did you finish it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whew, I've been dying to talk about this.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to pull up my notes.
Yeah.
So what'd you think?
All right. I have some questions. We're going to go spoilers here, okay? Everyone to know we're going to go spoilers.
Spoilers.
You cool with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I have notes that are spoiler free, but I can go into spoilers.
I mean, maybe we don't have to. There's not a ton of stuff that
There's
we
not
need
a
to
ton of stuff
discuss spoiler wise. I don't think. I mean,
the ending, but I mean,
yeah, but a lot of my okay.
I know. Where should we start with this? The beginning, I guess. We could just work our way through the series.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So first episode, we'll start there.
Yeah.
What'd you think? I'm not gonna go episode to episode, but
here's the hard thing for me.
Yes.
We watched it like so consecutively. I feel like I have overview thoughts because we watched them all pretty quickly.
Yep.
Relatively speaking.
I watched it in 2 sittings.
Yeah.
6 episodes once and then 2 the other night. So.
And at this point, I finished like a week and a half ago. You've been done for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Probably more.
I finished 2 days after it came out.
Yeah. So I don't feel super fresh on it, to be honest. But I have some overviewing thoughts. So I don't know if I can go episode for episode. But if you want to start like that.
Well, we can separate it. Like the first 3 episodes, kind of like its own arc. Because basically how it's set up is you get caught up on all the characters. You see where they are now, what they're doing, and how they're all going to connect. That's basically the first 3 episodes. And then from there, that's when Defenders really starts, when they become a team.
I thought they did well with the Where Are They Now section
I was really into that because, I mean, Jessica Jones we haven't seen for like 2 years.
Yeah,
at least that's what it feels like. It's been a long time. So it was great to see what she was up to, how her character developed after the end of the first season.
Right.
And on top of that, Daredevil, I mean, we had the second season kind of recently, but even so, it was cool to see where he was.
Yeah.
So that being said, you can't watch the series without watching any of them.
Yeah.
There's just no way. Major spoilers for all other seasons. And on top of that, you'd just be so lost. You're like, who are these guys? You would
be for sure.
So, but I also agree. I thought it was really cool how they did all that. So
yeah, I thought they did a good job.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so yeah, it's really cool and much more rewarding if you've seen all the characters.
Totally.
You know, because otherwise that whole seeing them come together is like, all you're doing is getting the minor facts of these are 4 people who are not usually together coming together.
Mm-hmm.
But if you know each of their stories individually, it's way more satisfying.
Oh yeah. But I don't even think you could watch it even if you didn't. I mean, you could, but like you'd be so confused.
Yeah.
You don't know where the hand is. You don't know any of this.
Right. And they're just referencing everything that happened in the other shows.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. It's like kind of what you referenced with Jessica Jones. Like, it feels like we haven't seen her in forever.
Mm-hmm.
When we start catching up with Matt Murdock, it's like, man, I haven't seen him and Foggy, it feels like, for so long.
Right.
Because since 2, I've watched Luke Cage and all of Iron Fist.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention they were just a while ago.
Yeah.
You know? So I had to like kind of remember, like, how did Daredevil 2 even end?
Yeah, I kind of forgot. I remember, spoilers for Daredevil season 2, that they kind of all went their separate ways to do their own thing. But I didn't remember where any of them ended up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So, you know, as they come together and the story progresses, we're dealing with the 5 fingers of the hand.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like the big bosses, you know, like the undefeatable.
You've seen them through all the series,
yep.
like, except for, well, I guess the 2 they introduce.
So it's Gao.
Mm-hmm.
What? I can never remember the guy's name.
I always want to call him Bakura.
Bakudo.
Bakura is from Yu-Gi-Oh! That's why.
Okay, yeah. Bakudo. I always want to say Baraka, but I know it's not. Yeah. And then Sigourney Weaver's character, I forget her name.
Lady Sigourney.
Lady Warbucks.
And then the other guy.
Madame Gao.
You already said Madame Gao.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh.
You said Gao.
Oh.
Bakudo.
I didn't say Madam.
So that threw you
So
off.
I thought until they threw me off. Hold up. I'm just going to find them all.
Yeah. But other than that, it was cool to see.
Also, why does Elektra's last name have to be Nachos?
It's not Nachos.
All right. Alexandra Reed.
Yes.
Is Sigourney Weaver's character.
Mm-hmm.
She's pretty great in it.
Yes.
Madame Gao.
Yep.
Murakami. That's that guy.
Yes.
Yeah. They barely ever say his name.
Yeah. He's just like the sweet ninja guy.
Yeah. Super sweet. And then Bakudo. And then who's the 5th one?
I think they were dead, right?
Oh, he's the one who gets kidnapped.
Oh, yes. I mean,
Sawande.
he is dead.
Or Sawandi. I'm not sure
Spoiler.
how you pronounce it.
Yes. I forgot about him.
I know. Well, yeah. So, they're the big bads. It's like, obviously, they need to put together like a crazy evil team for all the defenders to be together.
Right.
I think starting to see all the interactions with the characters is cool. I think, okay, here's one of my overview things.
Yep.
In regards to character interactions and in regards to action.
Yes.
I felt like there was something amiss. It didn't quite reach my expectations
Like
of it
Avengers level?
I guess.
Is
I don't even want to
compare it.
I feel like you know how last week we were talking like fighting styles in video games? To me, the action in Avengers feels like Street Fighter, where the action in Defenders feels like Mortal Kombat. And what I mean is it feels like a slower, heavier, more realistic action.
Okay.
Whereas Avengers feels like a more like Marvel versus Capcom. You can
like,
jump really high.
They
you
have
can,
lasers. There's
you can knock someone across the room and there's going to be no blood. Whereas in Defenders, the standard is Luke Cage throwing someone up against a wall with little to no effort, but it's like a heavy, like brute kind of thing. Same thing with Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
Daredevil's the fight in the hallway, or the Punisher's fight in the prison. It's all this up close, like real life kind of stuff.
Yep.
And I felt like there were a couple really solid action scenes, but I didn't feel like there was anything where I was like, oh man, that was like
Right. Well, no, I had that moment when they first all meet up in
the Chinese restaurant.
No, before that, when what's his name, Danny, he goes into the building to confront the hand, and then they all meet up.
That one was cool.
That was that scene for me,
okay.
the hallway scene.
I'll give you that.
Just because you're like, oh, this is, because at that point you waited 3 episodes to get to the point where they all meet.
So that was a good payoff.
It was.
I'll give you that.
But I am with you where Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, their fighting styles are just lift and throw or a weird punch, you know?
Sure.
It's okay. I mean, they fight like that.
Yeah, and that's whatever. I guess, like, now, and we've talked about how I think the fight choreography in Luke Cage, I'm not saying it should be like, you know, choreography-wise, it should be like intricate. I just felt like it wasn't like super well executed.
Yeah, I don't know how it could be better, but it certainly can be better.
I feel like you gotta like do cool stuff with what they can do.
Yeah, I mean, because he doesn't kill them, he can't like, you know, break a guy over his knee or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
He could break bones. I think it'd be interesting to see like him punch a guy, like collide with a guy's fist and break it, which I don't know.
Yeah, I think stuff like that.
But his character's not, I mean, he's not really a fighter anyways. Like, he doesn't want to fight, so.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and then, you know, ultimately you have the final, not to jump ahead, but in regards to action scenes, you have like the final big fight.
Yes.
There are kind of 2. There's the face-off with the remaining members of the Hand, or leaders of the Hand. And that's pretty cool. In that scene, you have Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Colleen Wing, because they're going to retrieve Danny, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yep.
And there are a good amount of good fight scenes, I guess. I just, for some reason, near the end, I was feeling like, we never got that big one. And at the very end, that scene in the garage was really cool, where they're fighting like they do the one-on-one kind of thing. And then the one at the very end was cool when they're all fighting, but it was kind of dark.
It was dark.
That sounds like a nitpick, but it was like...
It was tough to see the fighting.
Yeah.
And they did that cool, like, spanning shot where they go around and everyone's fighting and then, like, switching in and out of the shot. But I'm with you. It was dark. It was hard to see a lot of punches connect and to see the reactions of guys and stuff.
Which was, you know, probably intentional. And scenery has a lot to do with it. The setting, I mean, it was a dark setting.
Yeah.
I will say I love fight scenes set to hip-hop.
Oh, yes.
When it, like, broke into that track, I was like, oh, here we go. Like, it's so sweet.
It was really, really
cool. I love
cool.
it so much.
Yep.
I'm also mad that Iron Fist and Luke Cage never discussed hip-hop at any point.
Well, I mean, he wasn't necessarily into it. Luke Cage.
All of Iron Fist.
No, I know Iron Fist. Luke Cage, on the other hand.
I guess that's true. They never...
that was all for the viewers. That was never...
That's true. And maybe he's more of a jazz guy.
I guess.
But they just never... I guess that's true. I just associate the entire backdrop of Luke Cage because the music was such a big deal.
Yeah.
So I, for some reason, expected like...
Your dad would be like, hey, I like the music in your show, you know?
No, like I wanted a scene where, you know, he always like meditates to hip-hop.
Right.
So I almost wanted there to be some kind of like recognition of that.
Yeah, some kind of nod. Which, may I add, those two together were really good. I like their dynamic, and even Jessica and Daredevil. Yeah. It was cool that they kind of split off and did their own thing as like duos and stuff. And on top of that, Danny, I think as a character I liked him a lot more in this than I did.
You did?
Through a good chunk of Iron Fist.
Okay. Because
he was like goofing off. He looked happier a lot more, you know?
Yeah.
And so I don't know. He just like made jokes with Luke Cage and like, I don't know. He seemed like a more fun character. Like when they were in the Chinese restaurant all eating, you know, he was stuffing his face and everyone's like, this is serious. So he was like, I'm hungry.
Yeah,
you know?
right. Yeah, no, I'll give you that for sure. I think he definitely, you know, you see the way he interacts and he like wants a team. He wants a family, which that's part of his thing is him losing his family. You kind of see how he reacts to having people around him. And he's like, no, guys, we got to work together.
Yeah.
Like, so I did like that aspect. While we're talking about Danny, though, he confuses the hell out of me. I cannot figure out that character.
He's frustrating.
Okay.
He's very frustrating.
Here's what it is. I think I nailed down my problem with him. He's Iron Fist, right? The immortal Iron Fist.
Which we hear that plenty through the series.
Plenty, right? So he's always saying it. And he's also always constantly like, people will out loud say, you are the worst Iron Fist ever, right? So it's obviously intentional that he's in this like growing up, learning how to fulfill his role kind of character. But it doesn't seem intentional enough. So a lot of times he just sounds and looks stupid to me.
Yeah.
Like I get, like, if it was explicit that he's like stumbling through his role as the Iron Fist, it's like, okay, he's that character who's like not quite there yet. But because I don't know what it is, but it doesn't seem obvious enough that that's what they're doing with his character.
Yeah, I mean, he seems very much established as the Iron Fist. Like,
Right.
he's been training his whole life for it. He got the honor of doing it, so clearly he's capable of being the Iron Fist. But, and on top of that, we went through a whole season of him fumbling, trying to figure out how to be the Iron Fist. So, like, why spend more time on him being, you know, trying to do whatever he's trying to do?
And he seems to like he doesn't have his emotions in check.
Yep.
Daredevil's a better fighter than him. And I feel like that's shown. Like, there's one point where Daredevil's fighting Murakami and Bakudo like at the same time.
Right.
And Daredevil's winning.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and he couldn't, like, well, he beat Bakudo before.
he did with Colleen.
I thought he just fought him. He fought him in that when Danny went down to the computers and found the truth about.
Oh yeah, that's
and
true.
he fought, and then he ran away or whatever.
I just feel like all the anticipation about Iron Fist was like, this is gonna be like a kung fu epic.
Yeah, he's
And-
gonna be incredibly powerful.
Yeah, and he's like
dumb.
And whenever he breaks out the Iron Fist, it seems like he might get one or two like good hits in, but outside of that, he's just launching around with this like glowing hand.
Yeah,
and it's like, I don't know. And I agree. I enjoyed him more in this, and I've said before, like, it's not even like Finn Jones. I don't have a problem with the acting. I just can't figure out what's happening with the character. It doesn't feel obvious enough.
Yeah.
But Rachel had a pretty like killer prediction. I think it was Rachel. I think it was, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think you're right. Yeah, you wouldn't know. I'm sorry. That was me consulting my own memories.
Yes.
We were talking about this very thing, right? So again, we're in spoilers. Very spoilery. At the end, there's this Matt Murdock tells Danny, take care of my city, right? So
we don't know he says that until the end, though.
Right.
He just like he whispers it earlier.
Right.
Yeah.
But then later he says that, right?
Yeah.
At the very end, we see Danny sitting on a rooftop in New York with his fist all glowy.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Rachel and I were talking about this, how he seems like so inexperienced and stuff like that. We think, she mentioned this, I'm down with it. I think Daredevil season 3, we're going to see a lot of Iron Fist.
Oh, I think so too.
Yeah.
Have you read anything?
Nothing.
Okay.
So if that's a prediction that's already out there,
It's
and people have just said it,
yeah.
I'm sorry for sounding dumb.
So, in the comics, Daredevil disappears at some point. I don't know if he dies or something happens, but Iron Fist takes the mantle of Daredevil. He puts on his suit and becomes Daredevil.
Really?
And defends the city in his stead.
That's super sweet.
So a lot of people are making those connections, like, oh, that shot at the end.
I didn't know that.
Is like mirroring how the comics go. So he might take the mantle of Daredevil for now until he comes back.
Okay. That's cool.
So that theory is, I mean, it's
probably.
Yeah.
So we were thinking more along the lines of, you know, how we were just talking about like his emotions aren't really in check and stuff like that. That he might come under like.
Oh,
Daredevil
that would be
at
cool.
some point.
You're right, because he's total like focus.
He's
like,
all senses.
Yeah.
That was Rachel's thing. I liked the way that she got to that conclusion. He uses all senses
right.
to like really hone in and pay attention. Where it seems like Danny is just like a kid, like like he's just
Taste
stumbling
my
around.
fist.
Yeah. Right? So, anyways, that was that. Thought.
Yeah. No, that's a good thought, and that'll be cool to see more crossovers. You know, because Luke Cage was a major part of Jessica Jones.
Right. Yeah.
So with the potential of all these new seasons coming out now, and they have all met each other, so there's no reason. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
I'm interested. Interested to see what they do.
Yes. Did you notice the colors at all?
How do you mean?
Just like in the first few episodes when it was jumping from character to characters, there's such a dynamic color difference.
Okay.
It feels like there were 4 different directors for each of their
interesting.
parts. With Jessica Jones, for instance, it was more of Like it was darker, grainier, like almost like a purple haze, you know,
Okay,
like
yep.
the colors matching their characters,
That's
which is
cool.
really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it gave such a tone for each character's.
Yeah.
Like with Danny, it was warmer. It was like more of a like reds and stuff. So
Okay.
so if you didn't notice, no big deal. But it was really, really cool that they went that into
cool.
detail. With the colors, because then I'm in a Jessica Jones scene because it's darker, it's a little purple, you
Yeah.
know. So that was really cool. I just noticed it as from a filmmaker's perspective.
That's sweet.
So,
Yeah.
that was really cool. Let me check my notes. Do you have
Yeah.
anything else to say?
I think those are my overviews. I didn't mean to sound mostly negative because I think it was really good.
Yeah, I mean it's something to be critical about because it's been built up for so long.
Right.
And it's like they had plenty of time to fix issues from earlier seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Into this, so
Right,
but not to say it wasn't bad. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
For the most part, I was pretty excited to see them all together.
Yeah,
so.
me too. I talk about Danny so much because I'm perplexed by his character.
No, I'm with you. I'm frustrated because all these other characters have their definitive attitudes. They have become a hero, learned to be a hero, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what they're gonna be like. Danny, it's like he has the potential to be an awesome maybe a leader, or
Right.
maybe like I don't know, like Iron Man or something. That kind of very confident with his skills and everything, but he just hasn't hit it yet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And if I start, I think I'm just gonna decide to look at his character like that's what they're doing,
Mhm.
like just
working on him,
Yeah, and if it was like I said, if it was more explicit, I just feel like it's not coming across clearly enough. But if that's what they're doing, then I'm just gonna roll with it like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then cool. I can't wait to see when he breaks into I am the immortal Iron Fist,
Right.
and now it looks like it. You
Yeah,
know what
but
I mean?
when are we gonna see that?
I don't know. Daredevil 3, Iron Fist 2.
Yeah, one of those two.
Yeah.
So Sigourney Weaver's character,
Yeah.
wasted potential or no? You think it was better that she was
No.
used as a twist, or do you think she would have been better if she stayed longer?
I think what they did was fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm fine with it. I mean, it's kind of cool because that season now has like its own villain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she was the key villain in that
Mhm.
season. It's hard though, man. Like in Luke Cage, this is a massive spoiler, so I won't
yeah.
give names, but there's a certain villain that I wish was still around.
So yeah, they did the same thing in both of them. You know, it did the old switcheroo
Mhm.
basically, and that was a lot of complaints for Luke Cage, was that character.
And there are many villains in Luke Cage, so I mean, it doesn't feel like a spoiler to say it like that, but there is one that dies, and you're like, huh.
Right, like why? Once again, wasted potential. You
Yeah.
know, you feel like that villain is set up to be a great villain. You know,
And I don't know if it's because I didn't feel Sigourney Weaver's great and the character's cool,
I get what you're going, though.
but I don't know if she was like my favorite or the most intimidating part of the hand.
Yeah,
even.
she didn't stand out as a huge threat. You know, in the trailers, they made her seem like this. She's going to be like a crazy fighter and
Right.
like she's a huge threat and all this stuff. Not really like that.
To me, Gao is like
Yeah.
the worst.
Well, she's got like mind powers too.
Yeah, and the way she talks and manipulates people, like
and she's been there since Daredevil season 1.
Exactly.
You know? So she seems way more like a leader than anybody else, which I'm surprised they didn't take that direction. But I mean, whatever. What can you do?
But did you feel like it was wasted potential? Like,
well, it's just like the star power behind it. But no, I think
Yeah.
it was better for a twist, because I was like, okay, there's no way they're gonna kill her off early, or you know. But they did, and it was cool. I was like, whoa, hey, what's going on? So it was good for twist purposes, but other than that,
yeah.
I mean, we didn't have enough time to really like embrace her anyways, you know.
Right. Yeah, it did feel a little bit like that.
So, I guess that's all I had to say. And the ending, I thought a little bit predictable, because I think there had to be, but I expected. Well, we're talking about spoilers anyways. I expected Daredevil to just like show up out of the rubble, not set it up for the next season.
Right.
Which is weird, because if nobody, you know, if you don't watch Defenders, starting next season, Daredevil's going to be way weird.
Right. Yeah.
Because that starts off in a way different place. And
Yeah.
all that stuff. So
Yeah, these are all super, super connected.
Yeah. And did you watch after the credits?
I didn't. I know. My friend was like, dude, have you not learned?
Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
so,
teaser.
Yeah, it's just a short teaser for the Punisher show. It was really cool. But yeah, it's funny. I don't think of these as looking after the credits. It's Marvel, but it's, Netflix Marvel.
Yeah. Especially Netflix like jumps you to the next episode of whatever.
Right. So you're just like, I
oh.
always, last episode of any season, I always fast forward past the credits.
That's smart.
I always have like the little block so you can see, what's coming up. So.
We also didn't really talk about Elektra at all.
Yeah, I mean, meh.
I mean, it's interesting. The whole like process of the hand resurrecting people is interesting. We saw it in Iron Fist as well.
Which, may I add, they used the last of the thing to bring back Elektra, right?
Believe so, yeah.
So how did Bakuto come back?
Well, that was before.
No, because she was put.
No, he had already used it. That's all the 5 fingers of the hand were already.
Right, but.
Right?
No, well, they had to use the, whatever it was, the goop, the blood, whatever, every time they had to come back.
But he got up and just left the scene.
No, they took him away.
Oh.
Because he was dead at that point. So how?
I don't know.
Because Elektra went in the pod thing at the end of Daredevil Season 2.
Right.
So if they used it up at that point, Bakuto logically shouldn't have been able to. I mean, you could say, oh, he had like a little reserve to bring himself back, but I mean, they were pretty, forward.
Yeah.
Like, this is our last life. We can't ruin it.
Right.
I don't know. It's just
I don't know either.
A weird plot detail.
Interesting.
They just wanted to bring him back for some reason. But,
Yeah.
But anyways, other than that, Elektra was interesting. She, I really liked her in Daredevil. I didn't like her too much in this, just because she didn't really have. She was just a weapon.
I had a hard time with her motivation.
Yes.
I couldn't really nail down why she was doing what she was doing all the time, other than just like, she has a thing. This is another thing Rachel said, and I was like, oh, she's just got a thing with control. Like, she is just this untamable creature.
Yep.
And now, having been resurrected, she has her emotions and feelings and stuff, but overall, she's just taking over, and it sets up for like a more classic, like, I don't know, like Batman Catwoman thing where she's like the anti-hero sometimes just the villain, but there's this connection between them.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Interesting. All set up for more Daredevil stuff.
Yeah.
And, overall, pretty good.
Yeah, I'm excited for season 2 to see like what big villain they'll bring in next.
Right.
I want to see more Kingpin for sure.
Oh, me too, man. I thought he was going to show up at one point.
I know. I thought he was going to be the other finger of the hand.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of glad he wasn't, because they probably would have killed him or something. Or probably not. But
yeah, I don't know. Or maybe not.
Yeah, maybe or maybe not.
Maybe.
But overall, I was pretty happy with it. So
samesies.
Okay.
Yep. Movies, I imagine.
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh, let's go to the movies.
Why did you imagine movies?
Because I know you got movies.
Of course I have movies.
I guess it was less my imagination and more
of the...
I was just directing us where I know we're going.
Yes, of course. Okay, so I saw this little like indie horror flick that came out recently.
Never heard of it.
No, I mean, I haven't even said the name yet, so I'm glad.
Oh, okay. All
right. It's called It.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, no, there you go. You haven't heard of it.
Never heard of it.
So this is a remake of the Stephen King novel. That is
It.
Referring to the creature in the movie.
Oh, do you recall?
Have you seen the original?
Dude, so long ago. That I literally remember clowns about it.
That's all you need to remember.
Tim Curry clowns.
Yeah, Tim Curry clowns, which he did awesome.
Oh, yeah.
As Pennywise.
Tim Curry is the jam.
The jam.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him, though.
Why?
Well, he had a stroke a while back. So.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's depressing.
Thanks for bringing that up, Tim. Thanks, Tim. Back to you.
Thanks. So, yes, this is a remake of, well, there's the novel. Then there was the TV miniseries that came out.
Oh.
That's what it was, the 1990 miniseries.
Oh, that's why it's so long.
Yeah, because it's 2 parts. And yeah, like I said, it's a miniseries, which a lot of people didn't know that it was a TV miniseries. I think mostly because they remember it being violent, and TV traditionally isn't violent.
Yeah, I remember Mom having it on VHS.
And it's 2 VHS.
Yeah, and I was like, that's the longest movie ever.
I can't believe it. Yeah, and everyone remembers it in movie format because it was VHS and stuff. So anyways, this is a remake of that story. And it is scary. Yeah? It is really, really well done.
Now, this movie got crazy good reviews.
Crazy good and well-deserved. So, great. I went to the freaking... that's just... Thanks. Anyways, I went to the IMDb page. Pennywise is what I was thinking. And they had a picture of Pennywise. IMDb. So this was directed by...
Andy Muschietti.
Who directed Mama.
Maybe it's just Muschietti? Muschietti. Muschetti. Andy Muschietti.
I'm sorry, Andy. So he directed Mama. Did you see that one?
I did not.
That was the horror movie with Del Toro, Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, really?
He designed the creature in it.
Oh,
so
man, I love him.
Yeah, and the creature was real good looking in that movie.
Of course.
Anyways, that was a pretty all right horror movie. It there's always difficulty with horror movies because they follow the cliche of horror movies. Yeah. It just happens, you know. But this went it had a good story, which is good.
It or Mama?
Both of them. Okay. But I've started with Mama to give you a layer for this guy.
Right.
So he has dabbled a little bit in horror. But anyways, it was so good.
Yeah.
It was really, really good.
Now, what's landing at such good reviews? Is the story just like...
Yeah, well, it's...
well handled, or is it...
Yeah, it's very dark. It's not afraid to hit on dark subjects like racism, like bullies in the 80s, like... you know, awkward relationship between a father and daughter.
Okay.
Like, it's very tonally dark. All right. And that's cool because comparatively to the original, the TV, which that was also dark, but I think just the dark direction in this was much more like, whoa, like a shock factor.
Okay.
And on top of that, they like to play with your memories of the TV series.
Oh.
So scares that happen in the story that obviously they want to recreate for the movie.
Yeah.
They are done in a completely different way than how it was in the original.
Oh, interesting.
So I think that's what's really cool is they play with your idea of what the TV series was, the miniseries.
Did you revisit the first one before you watched?
I didn't, but I've seen it recently enough where it's not like super fresh, but there are scenes that I was like, oh, I remember that in the original. So, like for instance, everyone knows this scene, the bloody bathroom scene.
Yeah.
Where in the first one, I think it's the girl or someone's in the shower place. Yeah. I don't remember if it's a boy or girl, but anyways, they recreate a similar scene like that in this, and it's done beautifully. Feels like Sam Raimi directed that scene.
Oh, I love Sam Raimi.
What are you looking for?
I just now remembered that I had a drink at some point, but I don't know what I've done with it.
It's probably upstairs. I didn't see you come down with it because you had to bring the chair.
Christmas.
Ha! Now you got to sit here and drown on air.
All right, carry
on. So Pennywise is played by
Tim Curry.
Nope, Bill Skarsgård.
Oh, all right.
I don't really recognize him from too much.
Okay.
But he did an amazing job playing Pennywise. He made me real afraid of clowns, and I'm not scared of clowns usually. So,
really?
Yeah, he did. He just nailed like the voice, the movements. There's a lot of scenes in the movie where Pennywise's eyes like split apart, and he can actually do that in real life.
What?
They were initially going to CGI it, but he can cause his pupils, his like everything to split.
To like look in opposite directions?
Yeah, to move in opposite directions.
That's crazy.
So it's real scary knowing that after seeing it. But
now I'm confused because I don't know why his name sounds familiar to me.
Skarsgård?
Yeah, I haven't seen anything.
No, I haven't either. But maybe there's another Skarsgård somewhere.
Yeah.
But on top of that, the scares in this are top notch. They're really, really well done. Because they I think we talked about it before, but it's like the mirror opening scene where it's like, it fakes you out, like you see him open it and then close it and there's nothing there, and then something shows up. It's like that, but on multiple layers. You're like, oh, it's scary here. Oh, you're saying, oh, it's scary again. Oh, you're saying, oh, it's scary. And so it jumps around. So they did a great job with that. Story-wise, there's a lot more details that are brought up to make it more of a clear story.
Okay.
And because they have the novel to work with, they have so many details, so many things they can squeeze in.
Right.
Movie was 2 hours long, which I thought was spectacular. Horror movies are never long enough.
Right.
Which was great, and it totally made it much better.
Yeah.
And it had that Stranger Things, Stand By Me, like kids fighting a grand enemy vibe.
Dude, it's like the perfect combination for some reason.
It's nothing is more exciting than seeing kids fight a super demon.
Yeah. I don't know why that is, but it's real good.
But special effects were done pretty well. I mean, it's not the best, but they're really, really good, like how they're used.
Okay.
And the coolest thing about the villain, it is what it's called. Obviously, forget that.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's a creature that
they revealed that in this movie?
Yeah. I was
called?
pretty surprised. I thought the sequel,
Finally, we know.
Anyways, this creature can turn into the character's biggest fears. So you don't only see Pennywise, you see like this weird. One of the kids is Jewish, and he in his mosque. A Jewish church? Is that a mosque?
Temple.
A temple. What's a mosque then?
A mosque is
For Islam?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I was close.
Yeah.
So temple.
I thought you were talking about a yarmulke, and you called it a mosque, and that was very funny to me.
That's fun. Well, because I did the movement.
Yeah. You know how they wear the mosques?
Anyway, so there's this picture of this a woman, but her face is all like melted and stuff, and the creature becomes that. So you jump from like Pennywise to that creature.
That's
to
cool.
like a bunch of different things. So I would suggest anybody see it. Theater, hands down, is where you should see
it.
It is definitely a horror movie for the ages,
Any significant soundtrack notes?
I've
been paying a lot of attention to that in horror movies.
Yeah, I mean, like for jump scares and stuff, this I think it didn't like turn the music up to 11 when a scare happened. Like it was loud, but it was not like it
wasn't like used to scare you.
Right, exactly. It was just used to make the event scarier.
Okay. Cool.
And what else? There was I did in D-Box. That was the other thing.
Oh,
I
sweet.
watched. So D-Box, if you guys don't know, is where it's like IMAX, except the chairs move with the scenes.
Have you done that before?
No, that was my first time ever. So it was basically the reason why I got it was because the theater, we got there like 10 minutes before the movie started.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, well, we're either going to get a terrible seat or I get the D-Box, because those are always reserved. You can't just sit in it normally.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'll go with the D-Box just to get us a good seat.
Right.
It was great. It made the movie so much better because like there's a scene at the beginning, Georgie sends the boat down like the water. It's raining out, and Georgie wants to send a boat on a water adventure. So the chair, when the boat turns, the chair literally like moves with the boat. So you're swaying back and forth as it's going through, and like when a scare happens, it like shakes real fast and makes you move up and down.
That's cool.
So it was a lot of interaction.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure how it was going to work in a scary movie. I was kind of nervous because I was like, oh my God, it's going to give me a heart attack every time something happens. But it made the experience totally like 10 times better for sure.
I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
like when they add these things, a lot of times it's like, who needs that?
Right. It's
and
just a gimmick.
Yeah. And then you do it and you're like, oh.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I want to do D-Box. I guess it depends on, like, an action movie must be amazing. Like if there's a part with a machine gun, you'd be like,
I was just going to say, though, it's just going to like jackhammer the whole time. That's great.
But yeah, just go see it. It's if you like the original, I think personally it was better than the original.
Yeah.
I think this is a great way to get a new age into it.
I think we're at a point where that's not weird.
What do you mean?
Where, for a long time I feel like, and still in most cases, it's like the remake is not as good as the original.
Yes.
I think we're maybe getting to a point where, depending on what it is, it is possible that with current technology, modern makeup styles, different methods of filming that have become popular in recent times, advances in everything involved in filmmaking, could actually, and storytelling, the way we tell stories now has even changed. You know what I mean? Like, obviously all the core elements are still there, but even just like, I don't know, with every year that passes in any like sphere of art, I feel like new influences emerge, you know what I mean? And new blends of techniques and strategies and stuff like that. So I feel like we're at a point now where it's like, yeah, that's possible. It could be better than the original.
Yeah,
you know,
it definitely
that's
could.
like the ultimate sin to say that like, oh, it's not better than the original.
Right.
It's like, it might be.
Yeah, you hit the point. Like, the thing with the original is it had scares that weren't meant to like jump out at you, but make you feel uncomfortable. Where this one was more of the jump scares, but on top of that, it had the nice blend of making you feel uncomfortable after.
You know what else is interesting? That maybe that feels like an okay statement because the original isn't even the source material.
Right.
So it's almost like
all
which
based off
one
of
did
book.
it better. Did you ever read the book?
No,
Have you ever read any Stephen King books?
I haven't.
I don't think I have
My
either.
only knowledge of Stephen King is the movies,
Yeah.
which, I mean, I know he's obviously good because the source material is so good, but I haven't read any of it.
I can't believe how many of his books have been made into film.
I think it's got to be at least over like 30 or 40 because there's so many like, you know, under the table, like ones you don't know about.
Yeah.
But I bet if you look it up, he must be tagged in so many like movie credits, you know?
I want to look up, you know, it'll list like.
Yeah, top 50 Stephen King
Well,
movies.
what I'm thinking is like, I'm pretty sure the filmography based on his movies is like a fraction of how many books he's actually written.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I can't even imagine. But on top of that, he has such a crazy variety. Like to go from that to, any of them. The Shining, I mean, that's still a scary movie, but Christine. There's the one I'm thinking with James Caan and Mercy?
Yeah, Mercy.
Yeah. So Mercy, like that's scary in its own regard, but it's like it's such a way different feeling. But
oh wait, that's actually way less than I thought.
How many?
He's published 54 novels.
What?
Including 7 under a different pen name, 6 nonfiction books. So it's like
Short stories and stuff. There must be.
He's
bunch
written
of
nearly
those.
200 short stories, most of
Okay.
which have been collected into collections.
Yeah.
That's a sentence.
Collected into collections.
Interesting.
May I also add Finn Wolfhard? Do you know who he is?
I do
I'll show
not.
you right now. He was the kid in Stranger Things.
Oh, word, yeah.
I don't remember his character, but he absolutely stole the show in that in the movie. He's in it.
Oh, I didn't even realize
Yeah.
that.
And he plays like his character is so hilarious throughout the whole thing.
Really?
They made him just spectacular, just every sentence.
That kid's gonna have such a dope career.
It's seriously, that kid is on his way to stardom, which
awesome.
makes me also impressed at how good child actors are.
Yeah.
Once you see it, these kids are probably, I mean, the age range is probably in between like, I don't know, maybe 7 to like, I don't know, 13 or something.
Yeah.
But it just
That's
blows blows my mind because I look at Simi and I'm like, no offense, but I could. Do you think she could be in a full movie? Like, do you think she would be able to like act professionally in a full movie
It
environment?
blows my mind too because I've thought about that with my kids.
Yeah.
And it's like we've made like silly videos, you know, and talked about starting a YouTube channel for them and stuff.
Yeah.
That I think they could do, but like sitting down being like, all right, why don't you guys do something like this? They're just like
They're
can't.
kids.
They're just like goofing off.
So it
and
blows my mind that these kids, like, they're just so adult. They're so mature and professional to be able to film these scenes. On top of that, the dialogue they have, I'm surprised their parents. I mean, F-bombs all over the place.
Really?
It's hilarious, but
right.
it's so interesting to see parents are like, yeah, you know, they're mature enough to be in this horrifying film and have a terrible language, but even so, it just blows my mind because I compare it to all kids I know now. Like, there's just no one I could see acting in a film, you know. So it's just impressive. But,
it is. It's crazy.
I double thumbs up. That movie was excellent. Anybody, go see it. Even if you're afraid of clowns.
Especially if you're afraid of clowns.
Especially if you're afraid of clowns.
Go see it.
Ghost Eat.
Ghost Eats It.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Where are we going now?
Let's hit video games. I am not video games.
I'm sorry.
Don't strike me, sir.
Delicious.
Dude, I can't wear an XL anymore.
Too big?
Excuse me. Yeah, it's too big.
That's the dream, folks.
I wear a medium hoodie now.
A medium hoodie.
Yeah.
Wow, you're not even large?
No.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
It
dude.
is, but it's actually like I want this hoodie right now, but they only have XLs. Before they would only have mediums.
Now-
So frustrating. Like,
That's the worst.
the world is against me.
Oh.
Look at this, only 2XL. Get out of here.
Well, I guess you got to start gaining weight to wear
Anyways.
that.
Dude, I have been this week. I've been stress eating like crazy. I ate so much Taco Bell today.
Oh, what'd you get?
I got the steak quesarito box plus a cheesy bean and rice burrito.
Don't call me a cheesy bean and rice. Oh, I had that the other day,
I
actually.
ate it all in one sitting.
Oh,
I ate it all in roughly 6 minutes.
wow.
Yeah, I had a 10-minute break.
That's not healthy.
I was very hungry. And I didn't even feel like I wanted to die after.
Wow, that's really good, actually.
Yeah,
So how many?
thanks. You're like,
how many-
oh, congratulations.
That's an achievement.
It was 2 tacos,
Two
quesarito, and a burrito.
Taco Bell's so weird because you order so many things.
Yeah.
Like,
It's the Chinese food of Mexican food.
let's back that one up. Chinese food and Mexican food.
Yeah.
You can just eat so much of
You
it.
get so many things, you eat a ton of it, and then you could maybe eat some more later.
Not happily though.
Nah, but
No. I had Wendy's yesterday.
yeah.
I had the Baconator fries.
Ooh,
Oh, so good.
pretty good.
And a Baconator.
And a baconator.
Oh,
So.
of course. It was good. I don't go to Wendy's nearly as much as I like to.
Yeah, you should go more.
I should.
It's been Burger King burgers for me lately.
Oh, that's
Whoppers.
something.
Double bacon and cheese Whopper.
Did you get the cheesy tots?
Yeah,
How are they?
they're amazing. You haven't had them?
No.
Bro, I've had them twice.
Oh.
I don't even eat carbs, and I've had them twice.
Oh, I did. I forgot to tell you. I did your challenge. You challenged me to eat meat strictly for a week.
Really?
I tried. So what I did for lunch every day, I had lettuce.
That's not meat.
Hold on.
I ate meat for a week. I had lettuce and rice.
Don't you normally? I had bread. Don't you normally do lettuce wraps? That's what
I
was.
do.
So
It's just funny that the first
I
thing
know,
you
I
said
said
in your
meat.
list of meats is lettuce.
But how can you do just meat?
You just eat the meat.
That's mad.
I mean, the lettuce is fine. It
right.
just made me laugh.
I thought
Carry
it was
on.
irrelevant. So it was a lettuce wrap. I just had cheese,
Yeah.
which is not meat.
Also
but
not meat. Tim, we need to discuss
This
what
sounds
meat is.
awful. So, anyways, I tried. I did it for 4 days.
Yep.
I tried for a week, and I just couldn't do it.
Also, a week is more than 4 days.
I know. Your challenge was for me to eat meat for a week.
Yeah.
I did it for 4 days.
Only meat.
Only meat.
Yeah.
You have cheese. I went the keto way. You
Okay.
said meat.
I'm
but
just saying. Just couldn't define the challenge.
That's true. Okay. I took it as do a keto for
Yeah.
a week. I don't know how you do it.
Why
I-
couldn't you do it? What did you miss?
I just
Did you do it for 4 days?
I did it for 4 days.
Did
yeah.
you lose any weight?
No.
You did it wrong.
In fact, I gained weight, which was upsetting. But maybe because I was checking every day when I did it.
Also, were you actually keto or were you eating French fries at night?
No. I had I was trying to explain it before. Every day for lunch, I had a turkey, cheese, lettuce wrap.
Yeah. sounds good.
So I had 4 of those.
With French fries on it, though.
No, not with
Okay.
French fries.
With chips on the side.
No.
Okay.
just the wraps.
Mhm.
And then for dinner, it kind of varied around. But I had like eggs one night. I did more turkey roll-ups the next night.
Yeah.
I did fish one night. And then-
Fried?
Yeah.
'Kay.
That's it.
That's
That was
it.
it.
Found it.
Fried fish. Yes, that was the last night though.
Yeah, that's
and-
weird. You should have lost a little bit if you did it for
And
a
then
few
I did
days.
salad, but maybe it's a lot of water weight. I don't know, but
Well, that's what you should lose.
recently after I did that, I have been like steadily going down, but I haven't been eating keto at all. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, but I don't know how you do it. Like I didn't know I could have such a strong craving for like bread or sugars or any of that. I was like, I never
Yeah.
felt satisfied, I guess.
Yeah,
Like I just,
that's fair.
I thought like, okay, having these 4 wraps. Oh, bacon. I had bacon on the wraps too.
Oh, there you go.
So having these 4 wraps, I was like, okay, that should keep me full of proteins, like good for at least until dinner.
Yeah.
And then around like 8 o'clock, I was just like, I'm so hungry. So I don't know what that was, but
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because you actually get addicted to that stuff, you know,
Mhm.
like sugar and stuff like that. Because I'll have like a couple days, I think it was last week or the week before, Rachel had a total craving for cookies.
Mhm.
So I made it my mission to get her some cookies. And when I got her cookies, turns out I also got me cookies.
you're
So I-
crazy with cookies.
Yeah, I
though.
really like cookies. So I ate a ton of them. And then it was like a week of just like eating donuts and like whatever.
Just down.
And then when I'm trying to get out of it, it's kind of tough.
Yeah.
And so that does happen. And especially when you're used to eating it regularly, eating carbs regularly. But I don't know. I have no problem being satisfied. Like if I'm craving something now, I'll just kind of eat more meat and cheese.
Just to fill the void.
But I do have times where I'm like, I just want to eat chocolate or cookies or whatever. So, and I'll do that. But yeah, I don't know.
I don't either.
It's not for everybody, but you could do it. I'm just saying, next time you're like, oh, I want to lose 10 pounds, let me know. I'll hook you up.
Yeah.
I'll help you out. I'll encourage you. But
That's
just not now because I've been stress eating. So,
so
now I'll only be a good coach if you want to eat as much Taco Bell as possible.
Right. You'll be like, here, have a taco.
Right.
Thanks.
Get the box and then a couple extra things.
Right. Of course.
Right.
Good. So we're in video games.
Yeah. You know what? Now we're going to go into video games. For anyone who was confused why we said video games and then the food transition happened, now you know. So now let's go into video games.
Okay.
Video games.
So here's the thing. I've been playing games of the video variety. I don't know what you're counting on your fingers right now. For anyone watching the video, Tim's just doing numbers on his fingers.
I like the noise it made.
You know I've been cleaning out my backlog, right?
Right before you get into that.
Yeah.
Did you know snapping is not the sound of your fingers? It's your finger hitting your palm.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
It is. There's no sound when the fingers are there, but when it hits the palm, it's
Shut up.
slamming the palm.
I need. Give me something to disprove this. There's no way.
I don't know.
Holy crap.
How insane is that? So for you guys not watching the video, the idea is snapping is.
Ow!
He just broke his finger. So snapping is not the sound of your fingers going across each other. It's the sound of your middle finger hitting your palm due to the force of it.
All right, I can't.
Because the sound doesn't happen until your finger hits the palm.
I can't handle this right now.
I'm sorry, I just blew your mind.
Where did that just come from?
Well, because I was tapping my fingers making
Oh,
noise.
okay, all right. We're never gonna get to games.
Video games.
All right. I'm gonna be messing with that all night.
Seriously.
So, I've been cleaning out my backlog, right? So, a couple weeks ago, I started playing XCOM.
Enemy
Unknown. Xbox 360. Was it on other consoles as well?
PS3 and PC.
So I started this right after I beat Tron. And
What a transition.
dude, I was just like, what's next?
Yep.
XCOM. I thought it was a FPS. I thought it was a first person shooter. I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
And then I started up and I was like, oh, that's right. This is like a strategy game. So I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it because so the backdrop of the game is aliens are invading. You are part of the special team military outfit to go after the aliens, rid the world of the extraterrestrials.
Yes. You have no allegiance to any country,
right?
Which is a big theme about the game,
right? You're actually trying to win over the council that this project is worth funding, and the countries will back you based on what missions you take and what areas you go to. You have options throughout the game. This is maybe jumping ahead a little bit, but it'll say there are alien abductions or assaults in 3 different countries. Which one will you choose to go to? You got to kind of gauge because the panic meter will go up on each country in a certain. You basically have a panel of rooms that you can go into. In one of the rooms, is it the briefing room? I forget, but there's one room. No, I think it's called like the situation room or the. I forget. People who know are freaking out right now, but because a lot of people really, really loved this game. I made a post on Facebook like who played XCOM, and a bunch of people were like, "I love this game," and so yeah, like Tim said, you have to get to. Sometimes I switch from talking to the audience and talking to you, so I said like Tim because I'm talking to the audience.
Right.
That's a weird thing that happens.
That's okay. I noticed.
Any hoozle.
Uh-huh.
You have to pay attention to the panic meter, and you're trying to win the council over, like, this is a good idea to fund this project. That's kind of how you ultimately win or lose the game.
And that itself is such a metagame to the actual game. Like,
right.
That's in the background. Like,
It
that's
is.
something you got to focus on. But the actual game is, like, way different than all that, you know?
Yeah. So so it starts up. There's a little bit of a tutorial where, you know, it's a help me out with the terminology here, but it's like a 2-turn, like 2 moves at a time sort of strategy game.
Yeah, it's turn-based. I know there's a specific term for it, but it if you've played Fire Emblem or Banner Saga was like that.
Yes.
Tactical, like it's grid-based.
Right,
so there's a grid, and you almost like chess, where you pick your characters, move where they go, and then depending on what character you have, you can attack, not attack, defend, whatever their specialty is.
Yeah.
So yeah, like chess, I guess.
Yeah, it is, and you have 2 turns. I think that lasts throughout the game, though I haven't beaten it yet. I don't know if you can get certain promotions.
There is certain promotions. This is getting specific, but there's one where, like, if you get a headshot or a critical kill, you get an extra turn.
Gotcha.
So that's with the sniper specific characters.
Right. So you start off with 4 characters, or you can have 4 soldiers at once, and basically you're on a certain mission, and you just move forward until the aliens start showing up, and then you have to, you know, choose wisely as to whether you're going to use your 2 moves to find cover or to shoot or to heal or whatever. And as the game progresses, those decisions get harder and harder. The enemies get harder and harder. When I first started up, like I said, I'm not always a huge fan of strategy games, but I gotta say, this one has me thinking maybe I haven't played enough, because
I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
And then I played other strategy games, and I'm like, nah, this one's just special.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, there are I like grid-based tactical games.
Because Banner Saga, I couldn't.
Yeah.
It was too much.
Yeah, and there's
It looked great.
Graphically, the art style was awesome.
Yeah, but I was like, nah, this is way too much.
And that's the thing. It's like, this just has a beautiful balance of, like, it accepts bless you.
Sorry.
It totally can take in a casual player, and you can play it just basically like base form, you know, that you don't have to go super deep into it if you want to just enjoy the game. So that's the major difference. Bless you.
Pardon me. Right, and what's crazy about that is it's still pretty in depth, because you finish the first mission and you're like, at least for me, I was like, oh, all right, that was actually pretty fun. And you know, when you shoot and kill something, the animations are pretty cool.
Yep.
And then it brings you back to your base, and you're like, oh no, this is crazy. There's a research facility where you can build and buy items, or build and buy different facilities throughout your base.
Right, so it has this whole base building element where you have to upgrade your base to be able to progress you know, later on.
Yeah, you have to build like an interrogation chamber and, you know, something that can house more scientists so you can research more. And then there's the is that the research lab that I just talked about? I can't even remember. There's like there's a spot for research, there's a spot for you know, building the facilities. There's the barracks where you upgrade and hire soldiers. There's a situation room where you go and have council meetings. There's just all these different things, and you're just looking at it, but it walks you through it in a way that's like, okay, I can probably handle all this.
Yeah.
And it just kind of takes you through step by step, and then when you kind of gain more control, you basically go to this globe and hit search, and it searches the globe for different missions. And in a sense, there are the main story missions that you can take.
Yep.
And then there's these side missions where you kind of have more control on what decisions you want to make, and that is what keeps countries on your side or not. Eventually, you gain more soldiers. You can upgrade. The soldiers individually rank up, and as they get promoted, they get special abilities. You know, the snipers get certain shot upgrades, and you know, then there's one of my favorite ones is the run and gun, where you can take a turn and then choose run and gun, so you can take another turn and then shoot.
Right.
Gives you the best opportunity to get as close to the enemies as possible. There are some missions throughout. The majority of the missions, I would say, are just kind of search and destroy. Like
there is a little variety, but a lot of the times it is just kill everybody,
right,
and you're good.
Exactly. Now, as you go on, there are a few varied missions. One of the ones that's repeated is the absolute worst.
I already know.
Where you have to rescue civilians, as many civilians as you can, and also defeat all of the enemies there. Now, this is where you first meet this particular form of alien that kills civilians and turns them into zombies. Okay? Now, it is terrible because, first of all, it's super difficult. These particular enemies are super difficult, and one unique aspect of the game is, like I said, the soldiers level up individually. Once a soldier dies in combat, that soldier is dead.
Dead for good.
You never get that soldier back.
Yep.
So if you have your squad together and you have like all your top ranks and you've spent the game ranking them up, they're your strongest. You gain will, you gain health, you gain skills.
Yep.
And then they die. You might as well just start over at your last save.
Or if you don't have a last save, start over the whole game. It could be a game-ending mission, and you have no idea.
Right? Yeah, you have no idea
because your save. I mean, it auto saves, but a lot of the hardcore XCOM players are like no saves. You know,
I don't think it does auto save. I've had to save manually every time.
Oh, maybe it doesn't then.
Because the first time I played it, I played it for 2.5, 3 hours. And then just shut it off. And then I had to start all over.
Okay. So maybe it doesn't auto-save.
Careful with that.
Yeah. So that being said, you could totally go into the mission with your best guys. They all die. You fail the mission or whatever, which I think you get a game over if everyone dies, right?
I don't even know because every time that happens, I just restart to my last save.
That's the good way to play that game. I know everyone's probably cringing right now, but...
Well, I mean, you have to save at some point.
Yeah, obviously, to keep your progress going.
Right. I get the whole, like, not saving thing. Actually, no, I don't. That's stupid. Everybody shut up. I'll save when I want. Especially with this game, like, I'm not saying I, like, kill a guy and then save and then kill a guy and then save.
I did that at the end.
I'm sure.
I'm not afraid to.
I'm not saying I won't. But what I've been doing is, like, I go back and upgrade everything. Because even that, there's so many different things you can do at the base to upgrade and progress. So if I, like, do a research project... And then, in the laboratory. That's the other thing I was thinking of. There's like a laboratory, whatever. But if I do a research project, because you'll assign a research project, they'll research or do an autopsy or something on one of the aliens, and then it provides you with a new thing that you can build or buy. And if you don't save, and then you die, and you start like over from your save prior to that, you have to do all those little annoying things, like assign a research project. So to me, it's just a waste of time to have to do that again.
Right.
But back to these hell missions, when you don't, there are like, I want to say 18, are there 18? I feel like there are
civilians?
18 civilians or something like that.
Does it vary per mission?
It must. I feel like I got nine out of, like I got 9 and 9 died at one point or something.
Well, when you start the mission, it already starts out as like a no-win scenario because... there are civilians dying right off the bat.
Right.
It sucks. I haven't started one where I could save everyone.
Right.
There's just no way.
Yeah, because they're all over the map, and you don't. The thing that sucks is you don't know where the aliens are. So the way that you rescue the civilians is just getting next to them. The way you rescue the civilians is the way you rescue the civilians is just standing next to them.
Yep.
So if you only have 2 turns, right, and you see an alien that's 1 turn away from that civilian, but you're 2 moves away from them, you basically have to use those 2 turns to get to the civilian and then potentially be unprotected and you might die the next turn.
Yeah.
Or you use 1 turn to move and then 1 turn to shoot the alien, which will probably not kill it.
Right, because the killing system is a percentage-based system.
Right.
So it's basically like it rolls the dice, and it's like, okay, you have a 70% chance you're going to hit them.
Right.
On top of that, you don't even know if you'll deal enough damage to kill it.
Right.
So is it worth the risk to potentially get a critical to kill it to save the civilian, or do you run save the civilian? Because on top, this is going deep into it, but on top of that, if you don't save the civilian, it could get controlled into zombie. Then you have to fight two enemies, which
and the
is 10
zombies
times worse.
are no joke.
No.
They're not easy. They're harder than all of the other aliens.
And they deal so much damage.
So much
They
damage.
could one-hit all your guys.
And they can turn your guys into zombies.
yeah, which is like, what the hell?
It's awful. So if you don't, and the other thing is you probably won't kill one of those aliens with one turn because they're way stronger than all the other ones, especially when you first interact with them.
Can you shoot civilians before they're evil?
I don't know.
I'm curious because
I don't think so. I don't think it won't recognize them as a target.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Unless you shoot a rocket or throw a grenade.
That's maybe.
Because that could...
it might be a good strategy to just kill them.
Yeah, because then as long as you get half or more than half, I think that's the mission. Like, at least half.
I definitely got half one time, and it still gave me a rating of good.
Yeah.
And after good is excellent. That's like the highest. So they obviously know these missions suck. But anyways, I guess there's not a whole lot more to go into. It's a really fun game. Where I'm at right now, I literally have 2 options for missions, and they both suck. One is a story progressing mission where I have to go to I think an alien ship crashed. It's definitely, it makes me feel like it's a big point in the game because the cut scene to us going into the ship is different than all the other missions. It's that or a side mission-esque type thing, which is in Mumbai. And if I don't go there, I lose a country.
Okay.
I know because I skipped it once.
Yeah.
I said like I'll go there later, and I lost a country.
Sometimes it's okay to accept your losses.
The thing that sucks is where I am right now. I only have 4 soldiers because all of my other soldiers are injured. So I have to complete one of these missions with only 4 soldiers, and I don't know if it's possible.
I mean, honestly, I would say skip it, let the guys recover, because it's not, because you can have 5 soldiers, right? Or 6, I don't know what
I think I can
is.
have 6 at this point.
Yeah, there's no reason to go on a mission with less than 6.
And it's very difficult.
Yeah.
So they're each rated on different difficulties. So a particular mission, that's another thing. When it's like alien abductions in these 3 places, one could be easy, one could be very difficult, but that's the place that has the highest panic.
Right.
So you have to decide whether or not you're going to go there. I'm trying to keep as many countries as possible. I've lost like 1 or 2.
I think by the end of the game, for me, I had 5 countries that still were with me at the end.
Yeah.
Because I had to keep skipping those missions. I couldn't afford to send the guys out.
Yeah.
Because I knew I was getting close to the end of the game anyway. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to keep going. And I know I'm on the last mission. So I think I got like they rank you at the end of the game too.
Yeah.
See, I think I got like a C or something.
Yeah. It's probably what I'm on my way to.
But it's not a big deal. Beating the game is an achievement in itself.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing.
What's frustrating is the first night when I played through a bunch of them, I got to my first council report because they do these. I don't know if those are like, that's how they sectioned off the game, but the council will come through and be like, we're seeing value in this program. You're doing a great job. Continue. And the first one I got an A rating. Yeah. Because I was just taking every single mission. But that was the game that I didn't save. And I haven't been able to get over a B rating on like every one since.
That stinks because you get a nice money boost, depending on your rating. So
right. I mean, it's been pretty good, but where I'm at right now is super frustrating.
Yeah.
I'm like not sure what I'm gonna do because I basically have to let that country go because I don't think I'm getting through that mission, a very difficult mission at this point in the game with 4 soldiers, and they're all pretty crappy soldiers because all my best guys are hurt. So when you get hurt in the game, everything is based on days, which is cool. When you go to the globe and you search, it spins and there's a counter on the bottom right that says how many days have gone by. And there's a list over there that has everything that's happening within the game based on days. So it'll say 2 days until your new soldiers show up, 3 days until this research project is done, 20 days until the council report. So it's really cool because it shows you the time passing by. And right now, all those guys are injured. So when they get injured, it'll say critically injured, 13 days to recovery. Injured, minor injuries, 5 days to recovery. These guys are all like 2 weeks or whatever.
Oh, so much time.
And
you could get another mission potentially.
Exactly. That's
time.
exactly what happens. So it's definitely only going to take a couple days for me to find new missions, but all these guys are out of the game. So, anyways, XCOM Enemy Unknown, it's really fun.
Yeah.
It's definitely, I think it's going to be really frustrating for me to beat it because I don't even think I'm that far into the game.
Have you looked on how long to beat?
Yes. Ranges from 30 to 55 hours, which that's not that long. I mean, relatively speaking, 55 I probably won't do because that's I don't know. I'm doing every mission that I can.
Yeah, I remember it took me like 20 or so hours.
Yeah.
It was pretty long. A good gauge for that too is to just look up a walkthrough, and then
I haven't been able to find a list of the missions.
Really?
Every time I look up list of XCOM missions, it just tells me the different types. So like the civilian rescue, the like search and destroy, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
UFO crash sites.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with the main missions is location-wise, it could be different.
Yeah.
But the mission that gets done is always the same.
Right.
So, like, the one mission where you had to go and get, like, capture one of the aliens, that location can change 100 times. It'll always be in the forest and it'll always be an alien crash ship, but the geometry of the level will be completely different.
Right.
So that being said, if you look up a walkthrough, you can still, like, it'll say you're at this point in the game where you have to do this in this main mission, you know? So that's a good way to gauge, like, to see.
That's what I was trying to find. I love to see where I am in the game.
Yes.
So I'm trying to figure that out because I just want to know.
We can look it up after this.
Yeah, because where I'm at is so hard. I would love to know how far I am. In the
right,
game.
right. If you're in the middle, it only gets harder. It never got easier.
I got to figure out my strategies, man, because some of these ones I'm using my guys who have rocket launchers like right off the bat, and then later it's like the only way to keep the bigger groups of aliens from. One game I spent the entire game. I had my best soldier. She's still my best. Running at the end. I spent every turn running her away from one of those zombie making aliens.
So because you didn't want to turn around and take the shot.
She had one block of health left. Dude, the whole time that alien was chasing me, but I had two other soldiers, but they were on the other side of the map.
So you had to run her to
chasing me all around the map. It probably took me 10 minutes to just get her away. But every move, it would go closer and closer to her. So the whole time I'm trying to get her back to the other soldiers so they could shoot it.
Yeah, because you could have them set an Overwatch. So all you have to do is have it run towards.
Yeah. That's Overwatch is super sweet. You can use your turns, one of your turns, to move your soldier into a place that has good view of all of the enemies' moves. Set them in Overwatch, and then any of the moves they make that's within that line of sight, your soldier will jump out and attack them.
Yes,
it's super sweet.
It's super sweet. Yeah. It takes a turn, but it's totally worth it for defense reasons.
It is worth it. I wasn't using it a lot to begin. Now I am. Actually, the last time I tried the one of the levels that I'm at now, one turn had 4 guys on Overwatch. So one of these things came out and they all jumped out at once, and it does like a slow-mo cutscene for each one of them. So it was just like
switch it between them all.
Yeah, just go.
That's so cool.
It was so cool, and I think it missed like every one.
Of course, yeah. It's that game screws you over more than necessary. So,
but it's pretty fun.
It is. I think it's a great entry point for a lot of people who aren't into tactical games. Not saying you have to go play other tactical games,
because you might not like them.
Yeah, but this one, I mean, I loved it. I had a great time. There's a sequel, and there's that Mario plus Rabbids game, which is the same style as that. So
is it the same company or something?
No.
Okay, because everyone's been comparing that to XCOM.
Yeah, well, that was the big thing when the game was revealed. They're like, oh my god, this is XCOM, but on
tactical
Nintendo.
Mario game.
Yeah,
super weird.
But it's great. I mean, I've played it very little, just to like, I just haven't sat down and played it a lot. But it's exactly like XCOM, you know.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I'm using XCOM tactics in this game.
Oh, you are.
But there are different things like so to extend your turn, you have to run into your teammates. So to like get a bounce off to get
that's funny.
So it just has different elements that make it cool. So
it sounds fun.
Yeah, it's a good.
Sounds less brutal.
It's certainly less brutal.
I will say my kids were watching while I was playing at one point, and one of the aliens, like at first they're just shooting, and it's like if they kill your guy, like some blood comes out.
Yeah.
But it's like older Xbox 360 graphics. It's not like anything crazy. Then we got to the giant spider alien things, and those pick up your guy and stab something through his face.
Yeah.
So
that must have been fun.
Well, Jazz was watching. He's 4 for reference. And when he started picking up one of the soldiers, I put my hand over Jazz's face and just pulled him like towards me.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Dad, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Nothing. We're having fun."
Yay!
And because those are pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Even with those graphics, it's like, well, we can tell what he's doing.
Yeah,
so.
we know how it's gonna go.
Yeah, so I don't imagine that happens in Mario and Rabbids.
No, it does not, unfortunately. So the only thing I can suggest for you, and I mean it helped me when I play, is to listen to Sonic music. That's it.
You know, it probably is a game that I could listen to something during.
Oh, yeah, for me it was totally a podcast.
There's not a lot
game.
of communication happening. They just make noises.
It requires a lot of focus, so if it's...
I'm going to listen to the Doom soundtrack. Interesting thing, you might not remember Meow, but the soundtrack is very similar to the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. soundtrack. The soundtrack of XCOM.
That's a weird correlation.
Yeah, it's weird. Because I was listening to it, I was like, why does it sound so familiar? And it sounds like the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. soundtrack.
I'll have to listen to
Just look up the XCOM. Maybe we can look it up after. The
Yeah.
XCOM soundtrack. Because there's like one key track that plays every time the aliens come out. And there's this funny little like piano lick that happens. When
I
the
do
aliens,
remember
they're
that.
Like,
Yeah.
Like it's
like
supposed to be
horror.
creepy.
Yeah, it's horror.
Doesn't sound like what I just did at all. It's like an X-Files kind of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
It's scary.
XCOM Enemy Unknown.
Yes. Play.
I'm going to save my other games for next week.
Okay.
Because that was a lot of XCOM. And it's getting a wee bit later.
Oh, it's late for little old Brett.
Well, I have to drive home. You're already home.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't live far.
I
though.
can fall asleep.
Do you have anything else?
No, I'm good.
All right, we're calling it. Follow us on Instagram.
Yes.
And you can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud. I want to get us on more platforms. I've been lazy and just haven't done it. But there are plenty of podcasting platforms out there that I haven't put us on.
Well, let's do it.
I will. Also,
how would that work putting all the older ones on there?
I don't know. Well, if it's just putting, typically it's just taking the RSS feed.
And putting it on different pages.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but I'm going to look into it.
Yeah.
Also, follow us on the Keep Up VE, our YouTube channel.
Yes.
Follow us on Facebook. Just look up the Keep Up. Look up the Keep Up.
Yes.
Keep Up with the Keep Up.
Keep up.
And I guess that's it. Thanks for hanging out with us. Leave us a review, please, on iTunes. That was the thing I was going to say. Leave us a review.
Yes, definitely. Those help us. That lets us know people are listening and gives us an idea of what you guys want to hear.
Yeah.
So thanks for anybody who has left a review.
Good Etsy.
And anybody who will until next week when I forget about you.
Yeah. What?
I don't know.
All right. I'm going to go eat some cookies.
Is there meatloaf upstairs?
There is.
Tim's hungry.
Yeah. So babble real quick.
Babbly, babbly.
Bye, guys.
So one day I want to build a tower, but I don't want it to be taller than any other tower. I want it to be the shortest tower. What do you think the distance of the shortest tower could be? I guess it'd be more about height, length, width. I want the widthiest, but also the heightiest tower that is the smallest. Think about that while you crack your back.